Deadly seriously, the clown costumed pit bull is the worst character I've invented since blood-covered deer antler man.
I can't believe that we're all drinking alcohol again.
After the past week?
After E3.
I know. Well, that's why we need it, obviously.
I feel like I don't need any more alcohol for 13 years after E3.
E3 feels like that post-E3 feeling. You feel like the part in Casino Royale where James Bond's on the airplane and he's just like drinking and Mathis walks in and he's like, "What are you drinking?" And the bartender's like 3 bottles of liquor that I mixed together and put part of an orange on top of. And James Bond's like, ugh. And the bartender's like, he's on his 5th or whatever. And he's just like, looks like shit. And Daniel Craig's nose is trying to escape off his face. That's what after E3 feels like. Clearly by that sentence I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to go with the Daniel Craig thing too. I'm glad one of us said it. But E3's great. E3's fun. You basically run on alcohol and excitement for an entire week, which is great.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a particularly exciting year. Even people I talked to who had been to like 7 or 8 E3s were like, yeah, this one's the best. And I guess it's because the consoles.
That makes sense.
Right? Yeah.
7 or 8 actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, mathematically.
Although I imagine it was probably pretty fun to be at the original Xbox One way back when.
Yeah, sure. It's really good to see all the stuff, obviously, and it's really fun to like play all the games. But it's just kind of like the experience of running around such a crazy, concentrated place.
No matter how like kind of nervous and like crazy stressed out I get beforehand of like all the stuff I'm gonna have to remember to do and looking at like the spreadsheet of a schedule, like I usually get hit. Usually the first time just being in the convention center, you're just seeing these giant banners that are these crazy tapestries, and they're like Mad Max, Batman, some MOBA, and you're like, whoa, I'm in a big candy store. And it is exactly as cool as it is. You know, it is exactly, like, I get so excited at E3.
As lame as it sounds, there is also like a good feeling of togetherness when you're finally around people that you really only get to see once or twice a year.
You go by the Staples Center and there's like a 90-foot banner of Edward Kenway, and you're like, I'm with my people.
Yeah.
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
Seriously. I mean, for me, E3, and I'm sure for most people who attend, you know, it's not just games and work. Like, you are sort of expected to go out and party at night. And a lot of it, like,
heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, well, I'm saying after working like 12-hour days of running around constantly and talking in front of a camera all day, like, you kind of do just want to hang out and bullshit with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. There's this thing where like you're not really expected to go out. You don't have to go out, but if you went back to your hotel room and you sat around for like 5 minutes after just being surrounded with that much external stimulus all day,
you gotta keep going.
You'd be like, nope, I'm just gonna barrel through for the next week and sleep when I'm dead.
I mean, you're not gonna get a lot of sleep there anyway. You may as well take advantage of the relationships and the people that are there with you. I mean, for me, I'm running on adrenaline the entire time. I remember the past E3s, I used to like, I guess because I wasn't as experienced yet, I used to get really, really nervous and just, I would feel scared and just go hang out in the bathroom if I felt scared.
Really?
Yeah, I used to do that.
Wow, that's really dorky.
Damn. I was like that nerd kid in middle school.
That's exactly what I did at lunch.
Yeah. I wouldn't eat in there, but
that's probably good. Man, the bathrooms at E3 are really, really sad. I don't know if they're better.
The
for
women's
ladies.
are nice because they're almost completely deserted.
Exactly. That's one thing. I don't want the gender status in the video game industry to change, because you guys deserve something nice and really just keep it exclusive. The women's bathrooms at gaming conventions.
Every time I go in there, all I see are like the cosplay girls, because they do have like sort of booth babes there, like doing each other's hair and
it's so funny.
Is my skirt like broken or something? Yeah. Like everybody's just checking each other's.
You mentioned cosplay. God, that was one of my biggest pet peeves at E3. Is there are a lot of people there who have no reason to be there. They are not working. They are running around getting free T-shirts that are 2 sizes too large for them.
I mean, everyone's excited. Everybody wants to see like what's new. If you're a fan of video games, at 16, 17, anytime before I joined this industry, if somebody was like, It's like a fucking golden ticket to the Wonka factory.
No,
If somebody had handed it to me and somebody was like,
is.
"Here you go, Charlie. This is for you and Grandpa Joe."
Right, but would you
I'd be
dress
like,
up like an Oompa Loompa? Would you dress up like a giant
I
gobstopper and be
certainly-
like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, it's the guys who made gobstoppers!
It feels-
Sign my gobstopper costume."
It definitely feels out of place at E3 just because
hate it.
It
Drives me
is
nuts.
it is people at work, right?
Yeah.
Save it for PAX. Save it for Fanime. Fanime is awesome because everybody's dressed up, and you're like, "Am I on peyote?" Probably. But you know, at E3, I'm like, there are people who are there clearly on business, and people are like running around, you know, working their asses off, and then there's like, you know, a guy
Well, what if
who's like,
somebody's dressed like a Moogle, but they're
Yeah.
also carrying a briefcase?
Yeah.
I would be so down with that. If somebody did straight up like
Business Moogle.
business Kratos, where they've got the, you know, the cornflower blue shirt and like the blazer and the jeans with the Italian loafers, but they're still just crazy screaming Kratos, and they've got like a little briefcase and
It was fun,
two briefcases
actually.
that they're swinging around. I don't know.
It was fun actually to be backstage at the Sony booth when they were because Sony has like all their characters running around.
Yeah.
And it was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
cool, like watching the guy get into like his Kratos costume, like his Kratos makeup, and it was like, yeah, I'll be here in this chair for about 4.5 hours. And it's like this weird clay-based makeup, so he actually looks like all ashy, like Kratos and stuff. And it was just really fun to watch them all get dressed up.
That-
I saw the little tearaway guy
Yeah, the
run
ter-
into
Yes,
a wall like
Iota.
3
The
times.
tearaway guy was a booth in and of himself.
Yeah.
That was the largest goddamn costume, and it was really kind of irritating because that was a crowded booth anyway. And I was like, get out of my way, you little paper Indian.
You know, I don't mind a lot
Damn.
of the fanfare so much because I feel like you sort of need that to dilute a lot of the guys in suits, you know, like E3
Yeah.
has a lot of dudes in suits. There are
No,
a lot of
I
old
was-
dudes.
I try and get my head in the game. I bought like a shirt with Wolverine on it because I'm like, I'm living a teenager's dream. Like I'm gonna wear some goddamn skate shoes because A, it's comfortable, and B, who am I kidding? Like I'm gonna be excited about this.
I think, yeah, and I think they have to do it because on their end, they know that because it's an industry event, because it is like, day one is entirely for buyers, right? Like day one is entirely for people who do retail. And then it's like entirely for press and like backroom meetings with developers and executives. I think they have to keep that sort of like pomp and circumstance up because otherwise the press would just like dive down into their cynicism.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they weren't
Yeah.
constantly accosting me with how happy it was, like all you would be thinking of is like, I'm 5 minutes late and this guy didn't show me what he was supposed to show me and I've got to file 3 things before the
Yeah.
end of the day. Oh, hey, little guy from Journey.
At the same time, though, when you're like stressed out and running late, you just want to run those people over with a
Yeah.
lawnmower
That's what
or
I'm saying.
something.
Tearaway was like 9 feet wide. I'm trying to get around him, and I'm like, it's great to see you, Ratchet. Now get the fuck out of my way. I'm late for something, you know.
Yeah. E3, man. You get so exhausted. I don't think people realize how much work it is. And it's like, it's not just like stationary work. It's like running around. I mean, unless you're Adam
Yeah.
Sessler, but
I walked 5.5 miles the first day. I checked my Fitbit. That's a lot of walking.
E3
a lot of
is
walking.
the best diet ever, honestly.
Doesn't feel like. I think I actually gained 6 pounds. I don't know how I did that.
Yeah, dude, if you go to E3,
It's all muscle mass.
you do. You can like eat whatever you want. It's like a magical week of just like, I'm gonna shove everything in the
man.
world into my face because I'm walking 10 miles today.
I get really paranoid about eating at the convention because I have an unnatural fear of getting food poisoning, and I feel
It's
like
not
if
unnatural,
I'm
it's
going to get it
reasonable.
anywhere, it's from
That's
the
a
LA
supernatural
Convention Center.
fear.
And yet there I was eating a hot dog.
There was like a big Mexican food stand, right? And it was just called Mexican food stand. And I was like, yo, that is not a place where you eat. Do not go there.
It's a trap.
Yeah. No, I was. There was one point where I was running up an escalator, eating a Cliff Bar, and drinking a 5-hour energy at the same time. I was like, it was like action mode.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I mean, it is physically exhausting. It is kind of psychically exhausting, and at the same time, it is loud as hell. It is infuriatingly loud.
Oh my god, that DJ in our booth was awesome, but it was so loud all the time. I felt so bad for Adam.
It was nice and peaceful compared to the Ubisoft booth, which is consistently the loudest goddamn thing I've ever stood next to in my life, and I'm actually really glad I didn't go anywhere near it this time.
It's funny how you acclimate to it and you forget it, and then you walk out of the convention center and like the air pressure changes and the temperature changes, and you're like, oh.
And then if you go to a thing, I've been stuck going to a wedding and a graduation the last 2 years, just something where there's again a DJ and people you're talking
Just like
to.
right after E3,
And
you
it's
mean?
And
just,
it's like
Yeah.
PTSD or
you
something.
know what it is, and then they start playing whatever song it was. Last year it was that goddamn Flow Rida Good Feeling song, and this year it was Daft Punk's Get Lucky, and it just comes on, and just part of me shrivels up.
Yeah, I never want to
Part of
hear
me
Nicki
just-
Minaj's voice again.
Well, I didn't want to.
Well,
in
that
the
was
first place,
pre-E3.
but
You
yeah.
said the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
E3 kicks ass though. It's
E3 does
it's
kick
the funnest
ass.
thing in the goddamn world.
Yeah, it is.
It is the visit to the candy puppy dogs and firework factory, and I'm so happy to be doing it.
Yeah.
And
It's just,
I still want to take a nap though.
yeah, I've still not slept since then, pretty much.
What are you talking about? You took yesterday off.
I know, but when I'm home, I can't
She took
sleep
it to
in
cook.
as
She
much
took-
as I would like.
She took it off to cook meth.
Yeah, well,
It was like it was like a working day off.
gotta prepare for next E3, right?
Yeah.
Or he goes around looking for balloons on the mailbox.
Sure.
And he goes
Okay.
in, and then he eats all the kids. But they show up, and they're like, "Oh, it's a dog clown," and then you know.
So, but he wouldn't. But I feel like the clown costume is an extra layer of complexity that he doesn't need because as a
It's
pit bull.
all he needs
But
is that moment for to take them off. Like he gets in the center of all the kids.
Okay.
Like he gets within there. He gets past their defenses.
Sure.
And you'd be surprised how easy it is to get past like defenses of a birthday party if you
I
just.
think for most kids, just being a dog gets you in.
Oh, that's totally true.
Like I'm still wondering why he's putting the clown costume on.